Hey everybody and welcome. I am Zane and this is Dark Souls Prepare to Die Edition.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty lords peeled apart their stone skins. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the Scaleless, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign. Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world. This is your fate.
So with the prologue done, we know why we're here. Question is, why is he helping us? It seems like the inmates are just running around freely here. They seem pretty docile though. I mean, I guess one would be docile when just dealing with the madness of their own mind. The asylum is a pretty dilapidated place, though it seems that the undead and the hollowing aren't going to be very much taken care of anyway. I mean, we could kill them. Would that be considered a mercy killing? Or, curiouser and curiouser. What would be the worst sin? Letting somebody deteriorate mind and body, or to kill them straight out? Oh. What do you know? Looks like the big guy from before. Oh, that's cute. He's waiting to pounce on somebody, but we're not gonna give him the satisfaction. We could fight him. I mean, he's not that difficult. It just takes a long time. You only do 2 damage to him, and I think he has about 600 health. Maybe more. Alright, we're getting our items back, and which is a good thing, except that we started off as a pyromancer. Outside of being the lowest level in the game, we have some of maybe the worst starting items in the game. I mean, it's good for magic defense and lightning defense. Not very much does block lightning. Same with magic. But that fire and physical, that's gonna kill us. Aren't you... Get out of here! There! He's supposed to run away as soon as we get up to him, but, sometimes the scripting isn't that great. He was calling for it. We're already up to the 2nd level, and there's where the initial bonfire was. The asylum seems to be a pretty small place, which is kind of weird considering this place is supposed to be where everybody drops the undead and the unwanted. Alrighty. Let's go and open up this door. It's gonna help us out later on. And we have one of our very first beginner traps of the game. Now if we can just walk the razor's edge here, that bowling ball comes down and we don't even get hit by it. But wouldn't you know? It's our benefactor.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity. I wish to ask something of you. You and I were both undead. Hear me out, will you?
You can actually say no, and he skips this whole spiel, but we should probably hear him out and understand why he let us out.
Regrettably, I have failed in my mission, but perhaps you can keep the torch lit. There is an old saying in my family. Thou who art undead art chosen. In thine exodus from the undead asylum, maketh pilgrimage to the land of ancient lords. When thou ringeth the bell of awakening, the fate of the undead thou shalt know. Well, now you know. And I can die with hope in my heart. Oh, one more thing. Here, take this. An Estus flask. An undead favorite. Oh, and this. Now I must bid farewell. I would hate to harm you after death. So go now, and thank you.
Seems like he's gonna commit suicide. We can quicken his demise, but we'll let him take the coward's way out. The Estus Flask is one of 2 healing items in the game. The developers didn't like that crescent grass could be stocked in copious amounts, and you could use them constantly in PvP battles, and it really did diminish the difficulty of the game extremely. So that's why we now have Estus Flasks. Ah, a pyromancer's flame. We're not very much of a pyromancer without it. They do say that the flame is connected to the wearer's soul. So to lose it, you've really lost a part of yourself. That's a problem when there's multiple enemies, is that sometimes you can't get a riposte off to save your life. Now speaking of riposte, let's go and say hi to our best friend here. There's nothing more satisfying than the axe's riposte. It's really probably the most bone-crunching animation they have. Alrighty. Now then, we should really go and traverse the white light. And look, it's our friend, the asylum demon. The best way to say hello, really. And we want to go and circle around him. Oh, unless he wants to do that, then that does have a bigger AoE than it seems. We always want to go and stay behind him as much as possible. Otherwise, he will go and hit you. I mean, his ass is pretty much his only blind spot. But generally it's more the right cheek than the left. And to show why we decided to roll Pyromancer, you are a glass cannon. And we got a humanity. Before the patch, they never gave out humanities for bosses. Humanities act as a full heal, which is tremendously good, and it's what people generally use when fighting in player versus player combat. You can stack, well, as many as you can, and the more, you know, while you're fighting, it takes maybe 1.5 to 2 seconds to eat a humanity, and there you are, back at full health. So I mean, there are ways to cheese the system, in all honesty. I mean, From Software, they had a good idea, and then they decided, you know, humanities need to give you full health. That will, I mean, but before they were kind of harder to come by.
You, give me warm, give me soft.
Snuggly the Crow, she's a callback from Demon Souls, which they had Shiny or Sparkly the Crow, and I want to say Sparkly, but I'm not 100% sure. And one thing I can never do is seem to find Snuggly at all. There's the nest, but that's about it. Alrighty. And there's really, it doesn't seem like there's anywhere else to go. I mean, the asylum, it's a pretty small place. There's really, we've explored all there is to it, so forward, on forward.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Alright. Now then, we are at the Firelink Shrine. This will act as our hub world for the vast majority of the game, really. Seems like somebody on the server was nice enough to kindle the fire for us. We now have 10 Estus flasks. Normally we'd only have 5, but if you offer the bonfire humanity, you can get up to 10 and higher, but higher would be for a later time.
Well, what do we have here? You must be a new arrival. Let me guess, fate of the undead, right? Well, you're not the first, but there's no salvation here. You'd have done better to rot in the undead asylum. But too late now. Well, since you're here, let me help you out. There are actually 2 bells of awakening. One's up above in the undead church. The other is far, far below, in the ruins at the base of Blight Town. Ring them both, and something happened. Brilliant, right? Not much to go on, but I have a feeling that won't stop you. So, off you go. It is why you came, isn't it? To this accursed land of the undead?
Well, it seems our benefactor's prophecy, outside of being extremely vague in the first place, and having trouble with some geometry, seems that everybody knows it, and it's considered mostly, I guess, a joke by some other people. Alrighty. What does this jovial fellow have to say for himself?
Hello there. I believe we are not acquainted. I am Petrus of Firelink. Have you business with us? If not, I'd prefer to keep a distance, if possible.
Okay, so he's kind of a jerk.
Hello there. I realize that I have requested that we retain our distance. But I also want you to know that it is not meant in ill will. Here, take this as a token of peace. No, go ahead. It's for you.
And he gives us a penny for his thoughts.
Oh my, you again. Oh, I know. How about this? I have to await my companions here anyway. So what if I were to teach you some miracles? Would that please you?
Oh, why not? I mean, having a miracle or two would be pretty handy for a pyromancer.
Very well. Then first, a covenant with the gods.
No. No. Way of White sucks.
That is a shame. But each to their own. Speak to me if you have a change of heart.
We're not gonna have a change of heart. He's gonna sell us the miracles just a little later on from the game. It's not that big of a deal. Over here we have a very important shortcut. It can lead us to about three main parts of the game, but it also serves for us as a nice little hidden area. And I don't know why the camera loves to bounce back and forth, but it does. Ah, the Homeward Bone. I love this item. Sends you back to the last bonfire you rested at. Some people say, oh, why not just use the miracle? Well, that's because why waste the slot? Cracked red eye orbs are used for player versus player experiences. Though we're not going to be doing any invasions, hopefully we'll get some people to want to fight us. Lloyd's Talisman is almost always going to be exclusively a PvP option. There's rarely a case where it's a viable option in-game. And we're gonna run away as fast as we can from those skeletons. They are a pain. And they don't give any good souls. One thing about the skeletons is that they are extremely tenacious when they come after us. Like, well, right there. Just to prove how much of a pain they are. Outside the fact that he was blocking it. Come on, get a good shot. Okay. They do a lot of damage, and we're not talking. Yeah, we're not talking just because they're hitting us through the shield, but also because, oh yeah, that stance means that they're going to parry. But they do a lot of damage because if they land a good strike, and it doesn't even have to be a full strike with the weapon, it will cause bleeding, and bleeding is not fun. Though she can't speak, she serves a very important task. As you can see, she could reinforce our Estus flax, and we're gonna need to find a Firekeeper soul as soon as possible for that. see more hollow. They're still lost in their own madness. Which, I mean, it's a good thing for us, considering how many of them there actually are. The S-Stock, that's going to be a very useful item. Though right now we only have 9 dexterity. It does require 12, but it's one of those few early on weapons that'll allow you to attack with your shield up. Transient Curse, it's one of those very situational items as well. It's only really down here in the ruins are they ever useful. Anything beyond that, it kind of takes up inventory space. You can insert your joke there.
Well, this is unusual. You haven't lost your head. And more importantly, you're free. How on earth? Well, I shouldn't pry. I'm Rickett of Vinheim. I was once an established smith, though. Look at me now. Can you believe it?
Rick is the first blacksmith we meet, and he's not good. He really serves no purpose.
What is it? Have you? Oh no. Don't worry. I've no intention of escape. It's safe here. I can't bear the thought of going hollow out there. Although, I must admit, I've not much to occupy myself. How about this? I could forge your weapons, albeit with rather minimal tools. I'll show you what made me the best in Vinheim.
Now, modifying equipment sounds awesome, and it is. It's pretty much the way we're gonna keep pace with most monsters in the game. It's just that we don't have anything at this point, and really, I mean, he doesn't do much of anything else. He doesn't even have very many items for sale.
What is it? There's nothing to talk about. We're both cursed, undead. But what's there really to moan about?
That and he's really depressing.
Come back soon. Smithing helps soothe my nerves. Don't let me wither away out of idleness.
Yeah, Rick, that's not gonna happen. Alright, the real reason we got the master key. Down there, and in here, is Blighttown. We don't go to Blighttown. Looks like we have a dragon's corpse laying here. Though, is it a drake? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. It's, I thought dragons were made of stone. So, this doesn't really look made of stone to me, but, who am I to say? And over here would technically be a shortcut? I don't know. I've never felt that the Valley of Drakes was supposed to really be much of a shortcut to anything. Those blue drakes are a pain in the ass to fight. Now then, let's go and get the real reason why we came here. These two items. Preferably the one on the right, but let's sneak up a little. We get Astora's straight sword, which is really good if we had faith, but as of right now, it doesn't do us very much good. Alrighty. A lot of people aren't able to get out of there. So what they generally do is run towards the claw, and they don't even know it. Now that he's awakened, he's never gonna go back to bed. And he spits out poisonous gas and does a ridiculous amount of damage. Alrighty. Well, I'm gonna see you all back at the bonfire. Alrighty. Thank you for joining me back at the bonfire. This is where the real Dark Souls begins. Let's reverse this hollowing. Alrighty. With our humanity stored, we're gonna call it the end for this one. Please do join me again for the next episode of Dark Souls.